Make sure to check out Season 1 because we're heading into legendary Pirate Armada. New season, same team. They're doing their thing, but Marvelous is being really impatient about Navi's next prediction, trying to literally shake it out of them. The rest of the crew is concerned, with Joe pointing out the fact that he's still not overburdened. He might have turned evil and betrayed him, but they still had a lot of history together. So Luca pries Navi away from Marvelous, and Bailey offers to make tea. Meanwhile, a surviving lava lizard meets with the Zangiak. Seeing that they're able to resurrect past villains, they want to resurrect Moltor, with Levira wanting to use this as a field test. Gosei calls Marvelous, who puts him on speaker, alerting the Rangers that the Zangiak are looking for a special heart crystal to try and resurrect a past villain, and he's sending Mac to overdrive Red Ranger to help them on their journey. They make it to the place, but it turns out Levira is already there, with Levira revealing they're looking for the heart crystal because they want to see if it can handle the power of Davy Jones, as a sort of amplifier prism. Marvelous, Luca, and Mac head ahead, and the rest go ninja style. Wasn't the ninja I was thinking of, but whatever. Mac literally saves Marvelous from walking right into a trap, which makes him think of a similar situation of him saving his dad. But they're too late as they find a heart crystal and use their experiment to try and resurrect Moltor. And it sort of works. He's not full, and he also goes berserk and collapses the cave, fighting the other Rangers. Those are okay in the cave, but Luca's upset that they didn't get the heart crystal. But Mac reminds him there's something more than just the treasure. It's about the adventure to get to the treasure, the thrill of it. Even if you don't actually get it. This cheers the pirates up enough to final wave out of the cave. Meeting back up with the rest, they go Operation Overdrive, the theme song plays. They might be the pirate versions, but they still got the power. Literally ripping the heart out of Moltor. They use the overdrive finisher on him, they grow giant, and they learn the ultimate power of Thrill of Adventure, and they unlock a hologram of the overdrive Megazord. And more importantly, Marvelous learns that patience is a virtue. Mac keeps the heart crystal for Hartford Labs, and he seemingly kind of recognizes the Master Red Ranger in Marvelous. The pirates are doing their thing, and Joe goes for a food run, but Orion follows him, asking him questions like what's his favorite thing on Earth, and Joe's not really sure. I guess he kind of likes swords, but why are you asking? Well, Orion just wants to know more about the team and Earth. He just is curious about his new friends. And that little kid nearly runs over Orion on a bike, stopping him like, yo, rude. But the kid has to get somewhere really soon. Plus the Zangiak are after the kid. Orion questions, and he reveals that the Zangiak were looking around this temple for a special crystal, which the kid also took. The Zangiak arrives, so the pirates morph, and they decide to use dinosaur power. That wasn't the one I was thinking about. After that, it also turns out the kid scraped his knee, but he doesn't care, because he needs to get to the top of a nearby mountain to watch the meteor shower with his friend. Orion offers to fly him up there, but the kid wants to do it himself. So Joe thinks that's really idiotic. Orion's offended by that, but Joe points out, let's be honest, there's no way he's going to be up there by nightfall. But he does give him a band-aid and tell him pitter-patter, get at her. Joe's glad to see at least the kid's determined. Later, the pirates are going over the morphing grid footage of what just happened. Turns out the crystal from the shrine is very similar to the heart crystal, and the kid has it, and the Zangiak are after him, so we gotta book it. They meet up with the kid as the Zangiak are already there, and the kid explains the reason why he's so determined to do it himself is because his best friend he doesn't see often is going to meet up with him on top of the mountain to watch the meteor shower, as well as his friend is considering giving up on his soccer dream, so the kid has to prove that if someone as out of shape as him can get up this mountain on a bike by nightfall, then this should encourage him to keep playing. So the pirates cleared a way for the kid, even on more fighting for a bit. Meeting up with the monster, Orion jumps at him with Mighty Morphin White, and everyone goes, Advent, Summon, Mega Ranger, and finishing him off with Zeo and the Zeo finisher. The monster grows, and the impact wave sends the kid falling off his bike again. They summon the Megazords, and Joe encourages the kid to keep doing his promise. But the monster uses his powers to pull the meteors early to fly into the Earth. The Rangers defeat him, and to deal with the meteors, they fastball special and toss Orion's ship up into the air. The two kid friends meet up, and they are encouraged to play soccer again, with Orion mentioning it isn't all just about saving lives. It's about keeping people's dreams alive. They watch the meteor shower, and it's also revealed the Zangyak got at least a broken piece of the stone. Just another day on the Red Galleon until a new ship arrives trying to contact them. The pilot reveals himself as Garvin of Andracia. The pirates let him on board reluctantly and wait till Orion arrives. And when he gets there, he's excited and jumping up and down and hugs him. He explains Garvis is essentially the Tommy Oliver and the Zorodon of Andracia. He was the leader and the mentor of the Power Rangers, Jack, known as the Rule Ranger. Garvis explains that at first they didn't mind the Zangyak because they kind of left their plan alone until they came for their resources. So the Jack team led the resistance, but they were completely overwhelmed by the might of the Zangyak. At the time, Garvis was fighting them off with the Ace Jet. He thought that they retreated, but when he went planetside and realized what happened to his team, he was devastated. His team, his home, his planet, his family, all gone. So he decided to use his powers to try and stop the Zangyak from doing this ever again, becoming a pirate. Marvelous notes how that's pretty similar to his story. With the Zangyak, Commander Turtlein arrives, explaining that he's been searching for Garvis for 2 years. He's been a thorn in his side and is the reason why he's got these cybernetics. He's been able to track him to Earth. With Orion, he's having another second thought of keeping the Ranger powers and instead giving them to someone like Garvis, who's much more experienced. But Garvis assures him that he's good enough to fight the Zangyak. You don't need to give up the powers. But then Turtlein arrives, and he's going to take over this construction site from the humans to make a new invasion platform. The pirates hear about this, but then Garvis is missing, so Orion looks. Garvis walks up to Turtlein, with his cane acting all frail. Orion shows up, and there's some more fighting. He might get smacked around a lot, but Orion refuses to give up. And with Garvis...
Hey, old man, give me everything.
Oh, call an ambulance! But not for me!
Revealing that his cane is actually a blaster. As the rest of the pirates arrive, Orion finally admits he's done with passing off his powers to someone else. He will stop the Zangyak no matter what. And Marvelous likes that thinking. They morph. And even Garvis does, with a rose in his pocket. They fight as Garvis leads the construction workers to safety. And they go legendary samurai. Wait a minute. If we're gonna go Zeo, we gotta get on a better wavelength. Can at least one of you please hand me the gold key? That's better, now everyone's samurai. Garvis like face palms. But to make up for that, everyone else goes forever silver, fighting Turtlein until the 5 decide to go Jacka and use their cannon, as Orion also hits him with legendary supernova. And then because this is personal to him, he gets to be the one taking out the monsters. On the Red Galleon, they finally remember to link Orion's bell to the chest. Garvis is incredibly pleased to see how effective the team is. If only his original team was around to witness the Zangyak's fall. Donnie tries lightening the mood by mentioning, you morph with a rose, that's pretty strange, sniffing, what do you mean by that? But Orion brings up the fact that flowers are very important to Andracian culture, as well as their very heightened sense of smell. Garvin doesn't take offense, but he says he'll be staying around to help the Rangers out, and Orion knows just the place he can stay. Turns out Orion gave him a job as his other janitor at the high school, and they're both sleeping in different lockers. He's glad to pose as Orion's dad, but these earth beds are really stiff. With the Zangyak, Levira reveals this new invention that will strip the will out of anyone, seemingly taking their bones. Or at least their backbone. With the others, Orion made a traditional Andracian meal for everyone, which is delicious, but Donnie's very weirded out by this. And then later, when Orion and Joe are training, it turns out he's very skilled with his trident, which Donnie gets jealous of. Orion notices and he keeps trying to talk to Donnie, but he keeps saying, whatever, I don't want to talk about it. With the general, he's stealing people's backbones, which makes them very apathetic to everything. the perfect people to conquer. Orion stands his ground as Donnie immediately calls the others for help. They morph and use grappling hooks to get to the general as Donnie comedically trips on the rail. It's just not his day as he's literally tossed off of the building by the X-Borgs, and Orion has to save him. Everyone shows up and goes RPM, get in gear, and Orion decides to join them with silver. Or should he use gold? I like gem, but I also like Gemma. Gold, silver, silver, gold, silver, gold, silver, silver. Get on with it already. I'm trying to pick, just hold on. If only they could become one. And then, whoa, what the? He's excited to see the gold and silver RPM Ranger, but then suddenly they do become one. And Orion created a new Ranger key, the RPM Gold Silver. Even the X-Borgs are confused as Bailey's clapping. He jumps at the monster, and Donnie just freezes in disbelief. So Bailey pushes him away as everyone else gets their spines removed. Monster even got to the Mega Team. So Orion and Donnie gets everyone back to the command center. Donnie asks Gosei how did Orion do that. Gosei explaining that he was able to tap into the morphing grid and use his imagination to create a new key. Donnie just storms out frustrated, heading back to the Red Galleon. Navi flies into his lap trying to comfort him. So Donnie explains to her that he just feels that Orion is just like him, but better in every way, and eventually they're just going to kick him out of the pirates and use Orion instead. But Navi decides to clear stuff up because it turns out Orion thinks very highly of Donnie and thinks that Donnie's basically just Orion but better. He's so confident and he might be really goofy, but he makes it work. And he thinks his knowledge of past Power Ranger teams is very interesting. So Donnie starts thinking over this, going to find Orion on the beach next to a command center, and they fist bop and make up. So they team up to deal with the monster. And Donnie comes up with the idea if you're able to combine 2 keys, why not combine all your keys? So Orion gets them all out and he tries concentrating, clenching his eyes. Oh, come on, all become one, all become one, all become one, all become one. Hurry it up already! As Donnie has to go Prism, and he's struggling, and then he finally gets the gold anchor. Power 6! Pirate Silva! Gold mode! Creating the battleizer for the season. Hitting the monster with a legendary Power 6. They blow up the monster, Donnie and Orion are best friends, and they go out for chicken. Make sure it's deboned. It was a normal day on the galleon until Bailey gets a paper cut. It's a very small one, but Luca treats this severely, like, oh no, what's going on? Oh, it's everywhere. Donnie notes how weird that is, but Navi has a prediction. Coming to the aid of others will lead to the next meeting, or something like that. So everyone pairs off and goes to try and help people. Marvelous decides to carry up some old people up a huge flight of steps, and Orion finds some other old people for him to carry up. Joe and Donnie stop a purse robbery, returning the purse, and it turns out the lady's alternative. Joe and Donnie never really met anyone like this and are a little weirded out at first, but they have to help out others, so they accept her invitation to hang out before her hospital visit. With Luca and Bailey, they help get some water for a little girl's mom, who turns out to be Dana, the Lightspeed Pink Ranger, who's also pregnant. Luca is very interested to help, even more so than she normally is. As a whole bus of old people arrive for Marvelous to carry up the steps. Dana starts going into labor, so the two call a cabbie, but then the Zangiak arrive. So the two ladies have to clear the way for the taxi to get to the hospital, even going Mystic Force. Afterwards, Bailey just confronts Luca and asks, why are you being so protective today? And it's revealed that Luca had a little sister that didn't make it, which is what inspired her to try and open an orphanage and take care of kids. Today would have been her birthday. Meanwhile, Donnie and Joe, it turns out when you actually sit down with the woman, she's actually really cool, and she is also really interested in swords and Power Rangers. But then 3 douchey guys start harassing her, so the pirates stand up for her. But then the Zangiak arrives, so they morph and they defend everyone, even the rude guys. But then the woman has to get to the hospital soon, So the pirates turn Jungle Fury and fight their way to the hospital with her. Everyone meets back up and are then demorphed by a big attack, which turns out to be from Sentinel Knight and Jungle Fury Black and Green. But that can only mean one thing, as Burden is still alive. And he mentions, "Oh, come on, Martin, you know it's way harder to get rid of me than that." And he takes out his Ranger key and his morpher and says, "Privateer Ranger, set sail, morphing." It's revealed that this is the form they was able to capture the pirates previously with. They morph and the guys deal with Burden as the girls are dealing with the Rangers until they get blasted back, so Orion deals with Burden as the rest head over and they decide to go legendary Lightspeed Rescue. The theme song plays in the background. Orion goes titanium power to deal with Burden. They take out the Rangers, but then Sally takes back the keys, and it turns out Sally also has a fire demon in their belly. They summon the Megazords, and because they're able to care about others so much, they unlock the powers of Lightspeed Rescue and hose down the demon. Later, Dana gives birth to another daughter, and the thing the woman was at the hospital for went fine. And two of the guys from earlier are actually really sorry for what they said to her. It turns out she's actually really funny when you actually sit down and talk to her, instead of just immediately hating on her because she's different. Also, she gave Joe and Donnie a makeover without them realizing. Make sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button for the rest of the series.
Why not stay a pretty forever?
Because I don't want to be a woman. Been there, done that, haven't I?
You are. So hang on, you used to be a girl, became a boy, and now you dress as a dead fit lass. Don't get it. Boggling me head, you.
Just because I'm trans, I'm no different from any other guy that drags up for comedy. You're just a comedy character.
I am hilarious.
It's actually really cool to get to a place where I'm like so comfortable in myself as a guy that playing female roles gives me zero dysphoria.
Dysphoria? Isn't that a Rihanna song?
No, it means like feeling uncomfortable in your body.
God, I never do.
Yeah, we know.
I mean, I think I get what you're saying. You're 100% skanky bloke who just likes to have a little play in my pants. Just like the rest of them, really.
We'll go with that.